Hi, I'm Wendy Stapleton and welcome to Wrokdown, coming to you live from Musicland. Well, we have a great show tonight. You wouldn't believe how many times over the past 20 years I've been asked about the Rockets. What happened to Wendy and the Rockets? Where are the Rockets? Do you ever see any Rockets? Well, as fate would have it, tonight when I was walking in here, I found a rocket under a little bush out the front. On a serious note, one of the legends of the Australian rock industry, would you please welcome Joey Amenta?
Hi, Wen. How are you doing? How are you, Wen?
My little rocket.
Thank you, Wen.
Oh, Joey, I can't believe this is like being at home with my little brother.
We go back a long, long time, don't we, Wen?
We go back a long way, and of course, as I said,
a long time.
Our band were together for, what, 200 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
But let me take our audience out there and here, of course, back through your history, Joe, because in actual fact, you were already a little star. By the time you were 15 or 16, you were in a band called Taste. Was that your very first professional band?
Yep.
Can you just explain how people get that good so young?
Oh, man. I just practiced. I didn't even know I was any good anyway, till now. No, I'm only kidding. I was okay. I wasn't as good as I am now, I hope. But I just practiced so much. I guess the old cliche, I lived and breathed.
Music.
Lived and breathed it when, yeah.
Who were your heroes?
Yeah, my heroes were, maybe a lot of people here mightn't have heard of a guy called Tommy Bolin, guitar player called Tommy Bolin, who died at a really young age. He was the most amazing guitar player I'd ever heard in my life. He could play any style, he could play jazz.
And you can play any style?
Well, kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Hey, okay, so let's just start with Taste, because I know that earlier this year you guys got together for a few gigs.
Yes, last year.
Last year?
Yeah, we did a few gigs.
The original lineup?
Yeah, the original lineup without Verge, because Verge is overseas.
Virgil Donati, of course,
He's
who's an
amazing superstar
in the States now, isn't he?
Yes, a stateside superstar.
Yeah.
Virgil.
But so in the original band, you were all, what, 14, 15, 16 years old?
Yeah, I was 14, Verge was 15 and a half, Ken was 17, and Michael had a licence.
Someone always had to have the car.
Someone had to have the licence. But my father would still come to gigs, even though, Dad, Michael's going to drive me home. I stick around and drive you home. I'm like, Dad, don't. It's really uncool when you're 15. Now, if you did that, that's super cool. If you did that now, I'd love that.
You'd really
but
like
when
it,
I was 15, I was like, and I remember recording, in the studio, and Dad would rock up with 20 pizzas for us and stuff. Go, Dad, you've got to stop this. This is really uncool. Again, now it'd be really cool. But when you're a kid, you think differently, don't you, Wen,
You absolutely do. I remember my dad used to drive me right up to the door of the nightclub and on the footpath. Yeah.
And what time do you finish?
Yep.
Okay, love, I'll see you. So there we were, there I was when I got the gig. Can I say I was wagging school? Is that all right?
Yeah, you can say whatever
I was wagging school, and I was
We know you wag school.
I was wagging school, and I wagged school so I could spend all day in this music shop and play. And lo and behold, a friend of mine, Roger, Ken Murdoch, walked in and started writing out a guitar player wanted thing on this paper, this ad. And Roger goes, "Hey, Ken, he plays guitar." At the time, the number one song was on the charts was AC/DC with "Baby Please Don't Go." Baby please don't go. So he looked me up and he goes, "You?" I was in my purple school uniform. St. Joe's school uniform. And I thought, how do I be cool? How can I be cool with it? And he goes, and he looked me up and down and said, "You?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Play." And I played it note for note. I did all the Angus part with my hand. And then I did the scatting part that Bon used to do. Whoa, 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 all that stuff. And he picked up the phone and rang Michael, who was the older. He was 18. He was the boss of it. He goes, "Michael, got the guy. And he goes, "Can you come to me?" And a week later, I was walking behind Soozie Quattro at Festival Hall.
You're serious? That fast?
A week later, next day, Dad and I went to school and saw the headmaster and told him I was leaving. Yes. And I left. And there we were. And the roadie, we got to the side of the stage. The guys go, "Con, you got to go on now. The crowd's starting to build up." And And we got to the side of the stage, and I was really, really frightened, Wen.
That's very polite for you to say that, Joe.
I was really frightened.
Yeah.
And everything froze up. And I'm just standing there, and the radio goes, "Come on." And I'm just standing there, and I go, "Are you talking to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, you have to go on." I was like this. He goes, "You have to go on." I go, "Go on." "Go on what?" And he goes, "There." And I went, "There." And he goes, "Now." I went on, I kid you not, friends of mine met a girl that was in the audience that saw this. I walked on, I tried to play, nothing would move. I tried to play the first chord, and as I did, tried to play the first chord, one foot went in front of the other, and I tripped myself and fell flat on my bum in the middle of the stage of Festival Hall, 15 years old.
Oh, Joey, darling.
Thank you, darling. That just makes it so much better. And so that was my introduction into the foray of rock and roll. That was it, Wen.
We're going to have such a great time chatting tonight. We've got so many more stories to talk about. But Joey, I want you to listen to this.
Yes.
Or not listen to it. This is a clip actually from a guy called Andy Jans Brown.
Cool.
Young boy from Byron Bay.
Awesome.
Now, you will particularly like this song because it's actually called Dressed in a Woman's Clothes. We'll take you out with this. I knew you'd like it.
Many a man will drown in her ocean. It's so deep and so cold and so dark. It's the way the moon appears on the ocean, rippling, flickering like stars. But oh, she gets high on knowing a man desires her. She's a girl dressed in a woman's clothes. Many a time I've laid down beside her and offered her prettiest of roses. There's nothing I could have denied her. My heart overflowed with joy, sad as it is to goodbye her, drowning in tears on the floor. If there's one way I will survive her, it's remembering what I said before about how she gets high on knowing a man desires her. She's a girl dressed in a woman's clothes. She's a girl dressed in a woman's clothes. She's a girl dressed in a woman's clothes. I don't need you, I don't miss you. And I say this to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. I don't want you, I don't need you, but I miss you. And I say this to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. Oh, to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. I don't want you, I don't need you, but I miss you. And I say this to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. Oh, to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. But I want you, 'cause I need you, yeah, I miss you, and I say this to cover up my scars, my scars, my scars. Oh, you cover up my scars, my scars, my scars.
Welcome back to Wrokdown, my very special guest. I love having you, Joey.
Thanks,
I
Wen.
mean, having you here.
Thanks, Wendy. I love being here.
Yeah, good. Joey Amenta. Now, I know that you want to talk about what you're up to now because it's very exciting
Very important, isn't it,
and
to
very
talk
important.
about what you...
But please, let's just touch on after Taste. Of course, you were on Countdown at, as I said, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, I compared Countdown.
Did you?
At the age of 16.
I know. I can't believe it. You were probably the youngest band ever on the show, I think.
I think we were...
But just run through all of the other fabulous artists
Yeah,
that you
wow.
were part of their band, because everyone wanted Joe in their band.
Yes.
Have you?
And I wanted to be in everyone's band, but you can only be in one
just
band
just
at a
name
time.
a few for us.
Well, I went to Geelong for a few months and joined an amazing band with an amazing guitar player called John Delamore.
John Delamore, who's another guitar
band
hero.
called Red House Roll Band. They were fantastic, and then I joined up with Russell
Morris.
and Russell led me on to Daryl.
Daryl Cotton.
God bless him, Daryl, and played with Wendy and the Rockets, of course, was a highlight because we went all around the world on 2 days' notice, but that's another story. I'm sure that's another story for another time. And played after working with Wen, I worked with Moving Pictures for a couple of years.
The X-Men.
The X-Men for a little while. And
So he's been around.
Yeah, been around.
Been around. Now, Joe, important what you're up to now, which is very
Yes.
exciting for you.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
all right.
sorry, microphone. Sorry, sound guy. Yeah, really, I'm so excited because for the first time, as Wendy would know, I've been threatening to do my own thing, to do a solo project for. God, I remember being in Europe on a bus going, when I want it, and she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. When I want to do my own thing. Here we are, 30 years or whatever it is later. I'm on the eve of announcing my new band with new management. Forming an amazing trio. I've written some really cool original songs, and well, the guys in the band like them, so they reckon they're good. So that's that's a help, a big help when you like what you're doing. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. You must like what you do. And at the moment, I'm absolutely loving what I'm doing. I'm just loving it. Yeah.
So, is it going to be as Joey Amenta or do you, band
Joey
name?
Amenta and the Soul Seekers.
And the Soul Seekers?
Yes.
So we've got that to look forward to, and any idea when we'll be seeing the band or hearing?
I think around March, or I think we'll start playing, gigging around March.
So we'll all have to go and see Joey Amenta.
Yes.
I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thanks,
I love you, and for being such a good boy, because he's like my little brother. I'm going to give you some presents.
Ah, thanks. Look at that.
Look at that. And a lolly. And a
Thank
lolly.
you very much. And I'm like a little brother. She's like my big sister, always has been. She used to look after me on the road.
Sort of. Sort of. I think it was the blind leading the blind. But would you please thank Mr. Joey Amenta?
Thank you.
We're going to take you out with something really exciting. Have a look at this. Thank you.
Hey, it's Soozie here, out and about for Wrokdown TV with Miss Chrissy. And we are really, really excited because we're at the Palais and we have found John Paul Young. Hello.
How you going? You got me off the roller coaster.
We did. You were screaming when we got you.
Always screaming.
It's so wonderful to catch up with you here. You're supporting Air Supply.
Yeah.
What an amazing gig.
Yes, it'll be great. I haven't, I think the last time I spoke to Russell was probably about 1990 or 91 when I was on radio in Newcastle, and I spoke to him over the phone then when he was living in Arizona.
Because you had a show, you were a DJ.
A DJ I was, yes, and I finished up doing just about every shift on the radio. I started at breakfast and I finished up doing drive and lots in between.
Now, you've had a phenomenal career, I think something like 4 million sales have you made in record sales?
Yes, I wish I had $1 for every one of them.
I wish you had $1 for everyone too. Your first hit was Pasadena.
Yep.
Tell us about that song.
Well, I was in a band called Elm Tree, and I was the lead singer. And we used to have 2 lead singers. And the other lead singer had just left the band and joined a Newcastle band called Velvet Underground. And I had this guy, it was kind of like a movie script. I had this guy walk up to me with a big cigar in his mouth, and he said, "Would you like to make a recording?" And I said, "Yes." And he gave me the address for Albert's in King Street, and be there tomorrow. And I went there, and I still had my blue overalls on from the factory, and my hair was down to my ass, and it was very long and very greasy, and I didn't look a very good picture at all. And I walked in, I remember Ted Albert's face when he looked at me. It was like, what has he dragged in here? And anyway, that guy was Simon Napier Bell, who managed the Yardbirds from England, and he was a very, very big guy. I didn't know at the time, and he wrote the English lyrics to "You Don't Have to Say You Love Me" for Dusty Springfield and all this sort of stuff, and I had no idea. Because what they did, they took the demo from George and Harry from London, and
Vander and Young, to those who may Vander
not
and
Young,
know.
sorry,
yeah.
and asked me to sing right on top of George's voice because it was George's voice on the demo, and so I had to cover his voice up so that you couldn't hear him, and so it's actually a duet. It's George Young and me doing
I like
Pasadena.
that. We got the scoop.
Yeah, and right at the end, I forget to sing, and George is there singing on his own.
You were a young lad that came from Scotland originally.
Yeah.
Glaswegian, are you?
Yes, from Glasgow.
Now, the accent, they gave you stick for your accent when you were a kid, did they?
Yeah, it didn't take long. I mean, I was only, I arrived in Australia on Australia Day in 1962, and so started school later on, probably a month later, and that was when I copped it off this kid. It was 6th class I was in, the last year of primary. And this kid was just giving it to me big time. He had facial hair. He'd repeated that many times.
The man boy.
Yeah, he'd repeated 6th class about 6 times. He was forever doomed. But he was giving me such a hard time, and accents was always a hobby of mine. So I just went home and studied this Australian accent, and just went to school the next Monday and said, "G'day, how you going?" And he left me alone. And I thought, success.
God.
High five to me.
Shaved him right off.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it sort of became apparent that if I kept on speaking Glaswegian, people were all forever saying, "Hey,
Hey?
what'd you say?"
What's that?
So I just sort of, I've still got it. I've still got the Glaswegian accent because, you know, I'd talk like this during the day. I'd go home and say, "Hey, Ma, what's happening for dinner? Is anything happening for dinner? I'm starving." There wasn't too many ochs, you know.
King of Pop, was that really sort of what the arias are now, I guess?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, as we in the industry used to call it the kiss of death.
The kiss of death.
Because invariably, if you got King of Pop, you were never heard of again. You know?
Right.
And it kind of
Well, you didn't
happened.
get the kiss of death.
Well, I kind of did because after Lovers in the Air in '78, I mean, there really was nothing. We recorded a couple of albums. They went nowhere. Nobody played them. That was the end of that. And then by then, 1980 had turned around, and it was all serious young haircuts and people like Brian Canham running around.
You ain't no
Love you,
yesterday
Brian.
hero.
But no, everything just changed. It was almost like overnight, bang, you know. And if you were a child of the '70s, you were no longer welcome, and that was that.
You had a role in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Mm.
These guys too, Air Supply, who are just out there.
That's right, but they were after me.
Just out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Annis was my role.
Annis.
Annas.
Double N.
Double N, that's right.
Oh, yes. Look, we're so grateful for your time tonight.
Thank
I know
you.
you've got to nick off and have some dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe we'll see you after the show.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Wrokdown over and out.
Wrokdown.
Welcome back to Wrokdown, live at Musicland. Well, in the 60s, if you were watching the Go Show, you were definitely hearing a band that became the house band for the Go Show, and of course, the band needed no introduction. They were the most famous band around at the time, The Strangers. My special guest, Peter Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pete, now let's do this. Let's get this happening straight away, because what we need to explain was these guys were everywhere. Have a look. 20 years old. You're supposed to say, oh. How gorgeous is that? Now, the funny thing, Pete, was you actually, the band started out as an instrumental band, is that right?
We did, that's right.
What, you sort of played all the,
The Shadows and the Ventures, all those instrumental type songs. That's how we got the name The Strangers. We said, what do we call ourselves? And the song we were rehearsing at the time was The Strangers. So we said, okay, we'll be The Strangers.
So that's how you got
That's
your
how
name?
we got the name, yes.
And you were, honestly, I just know this for a fact, the most famous band around, especially around Melbourne, in the 60s for quite a period of time. Then, of course, you all started as the house band on the Go Show?
Yeah, that's how it went. Actually, how it happened was that they were advertising that there was going to be a new television show for teenagers on television, which is the first one in Melbourne, apart from 6 O'Clock Rock. And we read in the paper that this band called the Phantoms had got the job playing for all the artists and doing all the music on the show. And we were horrified. We thought, this cannot be. We're 9 times better than these guys. So we went storming into the offices of the production company and said, how dare you put this other band on? We're much better. You should hire us. And they said, well, if you think you're that good, you better come and do an audition for us. So we did an audition and got the job.
You got the job.
Yeah.
So basically what used to happen in the Go Show was you would play all of the backtracks, and the artists, for example, who was on the Go Show? It was
Well, Buddy England, and there was Bobby and Laurie, and there was Yvonne Barrett, there was Pat Carroll at the time.
Yeah.
And there was Johnny Farnham, and there was everybody was on the show.
And so everyone would come on the show, sing a song, and the band would actually...
Yeah, well, what would happen was the artists, well, the producers would say, okay, Johnny Farnham, we want you to sing this song, and Russell Morris, we want you to sing that, etc., 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 because they were all, in those days, songs that were on the hit parade, popular songs that everybody knew. So, well, cover versions in fact. So they say, well, you're going to do that song. So then they give me all the music and say, Pete, make that happen. So I had the Strangers, and I had a couple of extra musicians as well, and we'd just put the track together, record all the backing tracks on Saturday morning, the whole
The whole show?
The whole show. Then the singers would come in the afternoon and they put their vocals down. Then when the singers went, we'd go in and do a vocal backings. and we'd finish probably about 8 o'clock, I guess. And some tracks were actually didn't have any voices on because they wanted to have some songs live, you see. So out of the singers who were on who could really sing well, they'd make them do their songs live, you see, with the backing track. And we'd stand in the background and kind of mime what we'd already played.
The irony of that, and I'll just quickly touch on this because I know we're going to talk about the tour that you've just done. The irony of the fact that you were an instrumental band, the whole band ended up being the vocal group for a whole lot of television shows because no one realised these guys had the best voices in Victoria. So you all ended up being the vocalists for
That's right, yeah. Well,
Sunny Side Up and...
we used to do IMT, we used to do like every television show that was there because we had the rock sound voices and we were the only musicians in those days that could actually read music. So they
you
could
were
write
it.
the stuff and we were it whether we liked it or not, yeah.
Tell us about what you've been up to this year because it's been a very exciting year and I know that you've been on tour with the fabulous Diana Trask.
That's right.
Who has been living in America for probably, what, the past 30?
About 30 years or so.
30
yeah.
years?
For
So
those-
tell us a little bit about that tour, and I know we're going to go to a little interview with her as well.
Well, Diana had a song out called Oh Boy, Sheep I'm In, and so on and so on. You remember that one? She was a great singer, and she started off as a pop artist working on the main television shows like IMT, Don Lane's show and things like that, and she sang straight type songs. When she went to America, she got in the country thing and started singing country tunes. And when she came back on this tour, this is the first time she'd been back to Australia to work for about 30 years. She was a kind of a put your toe in the water tour to see if everyone remembered it and if they liked her new songs. Yeah, it was just great.
You're coming back on the show later on, and we're going to talk about the possibility of Diana coming back and the other things that you're up to. But let's go to the interview. Sometimes they do let me out. Is it girls? Where are my girls? They let me out. I got out and about. So here's a little interview with Diana.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sitting in the living room of an absolute icon of the Australian music industry, the wonderful and 9 lived. We've only been through 5 so far. The wonderful Diana Trask. So, Diana, I know you've been here for the past 6 weeks and you've just completed a series of concerts.
Isn't that amazing? After all this time, coming back to Australia with the most unbelievable response, and thank you so much for having me back.
Well, this time, basically Melbourne and a few of the local country regions. However, I'm sure next year when you do come back, because you're saying, I think I'm coming back, you will have to come back. It could possibly be a national tour.
Very possibly. And what's this business about lives? How many lives have I got left? I'm counting. Is it 5? No, up to 5, right?
I think actually stop counting.
Oh, we stopped counting. Good.
Yeah.
Yes, I've stopped counting age, so now I'm going to stop counting lives. That's going to be it. Yeah.
But they've been wonderful lives.
They have been fantastic, and I just love coming, to Australia, my home of Australia, because I just get this feeling of touching family and touching my musical family, and it just brings back so many memories and the things that make me who I am. Australia taught me that, and I learned music in Australia. I learned to pray in Australia. I learned many things in Australia.
And one thing that we did learn, you weren't born in a lumber camp.
Thank you.
In Warburton.
I am not
Diana was
born-
born in Camberwell.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, Wikipedia information. It's wrong.
Don't you worry, we'll fix Wikipedia up. Now, Diana, you've written a book, which is called?
Whatever Happened to Diana Trask? That's the first installment, but according to you,
There's going to be many, many more. Because we're only up to now. And let
then
me
what
tell
happened? And then you won't believe what happened.
you won't believe what I've heard today. Seriously, this will be a great read because not only is Diana an amazing performer and singer and songwriter, she's a sailor, and an accomplished sailor, and I think quite wacky for actually going back time and time again to be hit.
I received a fan mail the other day, and the woman had been to one of my concerts this time, and she said, I just got your book and I read it, and I'm just so mad at you. And I almost stopped reading the letter there because, you don't want to read those negative, bad ones. But she said, what were you thinking? You were a woman married with children and you're diving with sharks and having these adventures on boats and falling off mountains and all this stuff. She said, what were you thinking? She said, but I couldn't put the book down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suggest you buy it too, because just from the tales that I've heard today, there is so much more to your life. And that's why we've been joking about you've
How many
used
lives?
fives and
How
you've
many
probably got quite a
retirements?
few left.
How many retirements? I think I've been retiring since I was 20, trying to get it done. But, you know, not quite there yet.
Well, you keep getting another chance. You have a CD, a new CD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that is called
Daughter of Australia.
Daughter of Australia, and it can be bought online.
It can be on dianatrask.com. Yeah, it's the only place you can buy it as of now. But who knows? Maybe it won't be for long.
And of course, featuring in your fabulous live shows, of course, we have to throw in a gorgeous
yes, an
line
accolade
to our
backups
producer,
girl. Yeah.
Anita Monk.
And isn't she a good singer?
Oh, I don't. She's a bag.
No, I think she's pretty wonderful. No.
I'm joking. I can say that.
You're going to be fired, girl.
No,
you better
I can
watch
say
your
that.
butt.
She knows me.
No,
as if you'd say that and mean it.
No, she was really cool and
Really good.
very easy to work with. I love that. So was the band, you know, that I worked with this time. Just, you know, all the Peters, the two Peters, the Buddy and the Gavin, and Miss Monk.
Miss Anita. Miss Monk.
Miss Monk.
Oh, she who must be obeyed. Okay, so we have the book,
Yeah,
the CD,
3 CDs.
three
in 3
CDs
years, yeah.
available.
Yeah, dianatrask.com.
Okay, 3 CDs. As I said, just completed a really successful mini tour
Yeah.
of Victoria, but next year it will be national, I can guarantee you.
Oh, that'd be
So
amazing.
watch out for the news on Diana's tour when you come back to Australia.
Yeah, it'll probably be about this time because wasn't it a magnificent spring, or isn't it a magnificent spring? The bad part is that you kind of you sneeze your way through it. But I was in Warburton recently, and it was so magic. There's no place really on earth like Warburton, and the scent and it just brought back all
The
those
gums.
bush flowers. And the honey, I buy every jar of honey I see because the honey in Australia is
And the
so
bellbirds.
magnificent. And the bellbirds. I saw kookaburras. I got my fix. I got my lamingtons. I got my lamb. I got my kookaburras. I got my Maggies. I got my honey. I got my violet crumble. I get my fix.
What about Vegemite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people don't get Vegemite.
No, we used to mainline Vegemite. We used to say.
Diana, thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Diana Trask.
You're a doll. Thank you.
Enjoying it?
Wonderful. Yeah.
Thank
love
you.
It. Thank you.
Wrokdown.
Welcome back to Wrokdown. The little segment that I really, really enjoy, a bit of time with the girls. And I don't know why, I always feel slightly underdressed when I introduce my Miss Soozie and Miss Chrissy, who have been out and about.
Miss Wendy was out and about before
They
us,
let me
though.
out.
They let you out.
They let me out.
How did that happen? Did you get up to mischief?
You girls weren't available, obviously, but anyway, I enjoyed talking to Diana Trask. What have you girls been up to?
Miss Chrissy and I have been out and about, but I had the privilege of doing something that I could only dream of doing. I'm a big Glenn Shorrock fan. Like from '79, I saw him in LA. I was 18, travelling around America on a Greyhound bus, and got to see Little River Band with the Backstage Pass tour, and I never got over it. So 2 weeks ago, a good mate of mine, Jason Vorher, who is a phenomenal musician, rings me and he says, "Suze, I don't know if you can help me out." I said, yeah. I'd only had surgery the week before, so I was a bit slow. And he said, look, his song, Jason wrote an amazing song, didn't he, Miss Chrissy?
Yes, he did. I forgot to pull my microphone to my mouth.
And we discovered it on our Wild Girls radio show, 96.5 Inner FM, Friday morning 7 till 9. Just giving it a plug. Tune in. So Jason was our very first guest, and he came in for Pajama Friday and wore my bathrobe, and we had curlers in our hair. And I said, have you got some original music? And we had to extract this song from him, and it's a song called Lift Up Your Head. I cried I absolutely bawled my eyes out because the lyrics are so meaningful. So we've been playing his song and people have been requesting it and ringing in, and it was a real privilege to do that. Forward it to 2 weeks ago, and I get the phone call from Jason, and he says, "Suze, Glenn Shorrock," and I go, all I hear is wah, wah, wah after Glenn Shorrock, wants to record Lift Up Your Head. And we want to donate the proceeds of it to UNICEF for the victims of the typhoon that went through there, Typhoon Haiyan. And I couldn't believe it. All I heard was Suze. So I find myself with Lawrence, my husband, on the Monday morning in a sound studio over at Pony's Music, filming a video clip for Glenn Shorrock. And I'm going, I can't believe it.
So, are we going to see this?
So we are really privileged to present the clip. Brett Kingman, who plays guitar for James Rain, actually put it together, and the three of us had an hour and a half to create this video clip, and I would hope that everyone would go online and download it. You can download it for free and you can make a donation. Everyone did this for free, wanting to raise some funds because 5 million children have been directly affected by this typhoon, and you know, kids hit my heart. So just have a look at this clip, and I'm really excited to see it tonight.
You're feeling pain, you think nobody cares, you question everything. How can you smile when you can hardly live? We'll help you find a way. Don't cry, it works out every time. But you're alone and it's always on your mind. Lift up your head and smile again. Whatever's wrong won't be there very long. Just take it slow, then you will know the hurt won't stay. Lift up your head. Don't worry, friend. You keep on trying to feel the joy inside. Sometimes it's not there. Don't give in. Find a time to begin. You'll see a brand new day. Don't cry. It works out every time. You're alone and it's always on your mind. Lift up your head.
couldn't believe that that happened. I interviewed Glenn Shorrock at the Go Show. Miss Chrissy and I were there, and Glenn Shorrock saying, oh, he was in the studio recording and John Lennon was next door and he wanted to go and say hello, but he was too awestruck. And I'm sitting there going, get stuffed, I'm interviewing you and I'm so bloody awestruck. But that was a privilege to do. Chrissy, remember how humble Jason was on our show?
Yes, he was. He said, remember when we played it the first time, he said, it needs tweaking.
Tweaking, we didn't believe it, but...
It was just awesome.
Yeah, Jason Voorhees, thank you, and Glenn Shorrock, thank you.
And what a great
Thank
clip.
you.
See, when they go out on the town, they go out on the town. Miss Chrissy, Miss Soozie, our original Wrokdown girls out on the town.
Thank you.
We'll be
Thank
back
you.
soon.
Wrokdown.
Welcome back to Wrokdown. Peter Robinson is with me, and we've just been talking about the fact that you've been a very busy boy this year.
Have been a busy boy this year. We had the Go Show earlier on this year. The Go Show is a recreation of the original television show that's live with all the original artists. Anyway, it was a good show. It was great.
I heard it was a fabulous show, and unfortunately I didn't get to see it, but are we going to have some more Go Show reunions?
Yeah, well, next year, on August 30, it is the 50th anniversary of the Go Show. And there's going to be a special type of show. I'm not sure of the exact details at this stage of the game, but there could well be 3 concerts because there's so many artists who are on the show that you can't get them all on one night.
Oh, so you're actually saying
So
3
we're probably gonna do
consecutive shows?
3 consecutive
So
shows.
if you booked for the
different
tour,
artists on each one.
you would actually have to buy 3.
Well, no, you can just buy the one if the artists are on that you wanted to see
See.
for that show. But if you wanted to see more, I think they'll probably have some deal where
You could buy
you could buy
3 for free.
something like that. Yeah.
I don't know
But
why.
I don't know
just
why,
love saying
but
that.
the thing is, to fit everybody on, you couldn't do it in one night. So
Well, of course, because even the show that you mentioned, I believe the first show, when they were in rehearsal stages,
Yep.
they realised that it ran for so long that you had to actually
I had to cut like 5 songs out.
cut
That's
5
right. We did,
songs
yeah,
out
that's
because there were
true.
so many people.
Well, it's
So-
been going 3 years now. It started off, well, last year was the 3rd year, and the 2 years before that, and this year will be the 50th anniversary. But unfortunately, a lot of old Go Show artists have kind of passed on, like Daryl Cotton. Who would have thought Daryl would go?
How gorgeous Daryl.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter, he's still with us here.
he's still with us up in the sky. I
He's still with us
should
here.
imagine.
And of course, you know, I know, of course, you every Christmas try and catch up with a lot of your friends from the Go Show days.
I
And
do,
Olivia
I
often
do.
drops out and you have a bit of a catch up. Olivia
That's
Newton-John.
true,
What about
yeah.
John Farrow?
Well, John and Terry, in The Strangers, there was Terry Walker, myself, Garth Thompson was the drummer. Who did I leave out? John Farrow.
John Farrow.
Right, so John and I keep in touch. Terry and I keep in touch. I go stay with him every January for 2 weeks, and different people arrive. Like Olivia came one year, and John and Pat came another year. John and Terry just spent a month in Hawaii. It's tough.
Tough life.
A tough life.
Tough life for those
And
guys.
he just got back last week, and I've not to get all the goss yet.
But you will get all the goss.
I will get all the goss.
You will get all the goss.
We
So,
tr-
of course, you're responsible for all of these shows. You are the musical director.
Yep, that's
So
right.
everything has to sound as much
It's
like
wonderful.
the original.
Or whatever the project is.
Project
has
is,
to
yeah.
sound as much as what it is. So that'll be a challenge doing, I guess there'll be about 30 artists next year, so it's like a lot of work.
Well, 30
Try and
artists
make
would
all
have
that
to be
happen.
more than one show. Unless you did a half a song each.
That's right. They may think of that, but I said to Glenn, when we did the last show, I said, Glenn, I know we were rivals in the 60s, the Strangers versus the Twilights, etc., and I always wanted to be in the Twilights, and now I am.
Ah! And he probably wanted to be in The Strangers.
Probably.
Probably.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say, well, Pete, it's been
I'm
a
not quoting
pleasure
you, Glenn.
having you on the show. We're going to take the show out tonight with a fabulous clip. Just give us a little bit of background on the clip that we're going to see. It's Diana Trask.
Well, the clip is a song called The Old Country Church. It's about the church that she got married in Warrandyte, up in the hills. And it's a song she wrote herself, and I think it's absolutely an amazing tune. Brings tears to your eyes.
And was it filmed here or in the States?
It was done in the States.
It was
Well,
done
it was
in the
filmed
States.
here, the church, of course, but the clip was put together in the States, yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on tour next year.
I look forward to it. It's going to
On
be
the
lots of
Diana
fun.
Trask tour and the Go Show reunion.
That's right.
Would you please thank Peter Robinson?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Musicland for having us here again tonight. All of our gorgeous cast and crew. And of course, fabulous audience. Thank you very much for taking you out with Diana Trask. Good night. See you next time. Thank you.
There's an old country church back in my hometown. The paint is all peeling and it's all falling down. Said I'd love you forever, and we both made a vow. In that old country church back in my hometown. The day was so sunny, there was family in a crowd. They all came to see me in my wedding gown. I was scared, I was happy, I remember the way that my daddy wept as he gave me away. In that old country church back in my hometown, the roof is all faded now, like my wedding gown. I still love you forever, and I'll whisper it down. In that old country church back in my hometown. Sometimes I go back and I look at her now. Just an old country church brings me closer somehow. There were roses and lilies of Maria, water under the bridge. It's just you and me in that old country church, full of my memories, precious moments in time that mean so much to me. I loved you back then, but I love you more now. In that old country church back in my hometown. Sometimes I go back and I look at her now. Just an old country church brings me close